Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Euronurse. I'm your host, Vic Sinise. If you're watching us live, great. Glad to have everybody on board. We got a great show for you today. If you can hit that subscribe button, that like button helps us out with the algorithms. And if you're not getting our e-news, be sure to go on to our website. Our website's at euronurse.com, and you can go through a little registration and get our e-news sent to you every week. Our website is also the best place to go for all of our past episodes. We're up to 95 of those episodes, so be sure to check out all of our past episodes. If you want to listen to us in your car, no problem. Go to our Euronurse Plus area, and it'll take you to our audio podcast. You can pick whatever format you like to listen and listen in your car. Okay, keep June 29th available. That's going to be our 100th episode. We're going to be having giveaways. I'm also going to be having guest speakers coming in. Some of our sponsors are going to be on the show, experts, and we're going to have all sorts of things put together. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be giving away one card for every 10 live viewers. You have to be live in order to win one of those $10 cards to have coffee with Euronurse. And hey, they really are cards. I had these things specially made. They're with my logo on them. So be sure to join us for that episode. It'll be fun. Today, we're going to be talking about creating and promoting yourself through social media. And I have our great expert that's going to be talking with me, Dr. John Lynn. And let's go ahead and bring that into the show right now. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Good morning, everyone.
So should be a fun episode, but we'll just give you our brief introduction since you may not know who we are if you're watching for the first time. My name is Vic Sinise. I'm a urology nurse, been involved in urology for 40 years, and this is my way of paying it back. Been involved in technology most of my life too, so I really enjoy using it, and Euronurse has been a way that I've been kind of learning how to be pretty good at social media, I think. So I'm going to talk to you about that. And then, John, go ahead and take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm passionate about helping urology practices succeed so they can reach maximum clinical and financial efficiency. To that end, I created this Facebook group that I'll talk about later on today to help everyone succeed and for everyone's benefit, and it's all for free. I talk about coding, billing, practice management stuff at various society meetings throughout the year. And I think this year I will be flying at least 8 times throughout the country to help fellow urologists and urology practices. I am John Lynn, a private practice urologist in Gilbert, Arizona, and I'm looking forward to our discussion today.
All right. So very good. I'm going to just make a couple of quick switches over here. And whoops, got to bring in the full view. There we go. Always trying to get the right buttons to push. All righty. So I'm going to start off by speaking about, oops, hang on a second. I want to bring my other view in here. There we go. Now I got it right. So I'm going to be talking about creating and promoting yourself through social media. And as I said, John Lynn is going to join us to talk later on about the using Facebook and how he's the guru for that. But let's go ahead and start. So no matter what you are, whether you're a doctor, a nurse, medical assistant, or maybe you're an educator or an expert, maybe you're a provider, or you're an influencer or somebody who works online, we all have something in common, and that's we need to sell ourselves. We have to find a way to make ourselves stand out from the crowd. So how do you do that? Well, for some of us, you may have a reputation. People know who you are because you've been speaking in public arrangements, and so they find out that way. But for most of us, we don't have that great ability to have that reputation. So you might have to actually do some advertising, billboard. Maybe you're going to put your ads in radio, television, or yellow pages. People still use the yellow pages. Bottom line is you'd have to pay for advertisement for people to know who you are. And it does get to be expensive. But today, in today's digital world, we offer a free option. That free option is called social media, and it's perfectly free and available to everybody. But key thing, you need to have the knowledge on how to establish a unique and recognizable presence online. Now, it's a good thing for all of you that you tuned into this show because we're going to teach you how to do that. So it all starts with having a brand. You need a strong brand. It can help to enhance your credibility, showcase your expertise, and ultimately help advance your career. So, branding is a way of giving yourself a distinct public image that represents who you are. Now, I don't have to tell anybody what this logo is. Why is that? Why does it just jump out at you? Well, because this company's done a really good job of advertising who they are and branding themselves. Key issue being branded. Um, People are visual learners, so having a good visual logo type brand makes a huge difference. Um, and everybody knows that's Apple computers. When you see their brand, you think about maybe things that you own from the company, or you think about why the company is what it is and what they stand for. Sometimes it's safety, privacy, all these things. One logo. Now, you might think you'd have to fork over a whole bunch of money to create a logo to a designer, but that's really not the case. There's some online services you can use called Fiverr, where it can hook you up with a freelance person that will help design or will design for you a logo and a brand, because that's what you're looking for, is to create your unique brand. Sometimes you can use, if you don't want to, and that does cost money. If you don't want to spend any money, who does? You can use something like Canva. They do have a free service. Canva is what I call a templated branding service. So they can help create a brand. You can create your brand through them. And they use these templates, and you kind of put different things together and customize a design. It works, and it's they've got some free services, they've got some payer services. The bottom line is you can do it through this system. Now, Euronurse is my brand, and you can see that it's something that I don't know if you can see it, but I created this myself. Now, full disclosure, I am not an artist. I can't draw worth a hoot. But you don't have to have talent necessarily to produce your logo. You need a great idea. And that's basically where Euronurse started. So I started thinking about what could I do to try to make people think about who Euronurse is, what it is, what's this program, what this is before it became anything. And then I want them to be able to associate when they see that logo, this logo, with something. So what's involved in creating a brand, creating a logo? It has to be unique. So you don't want something that you're borrowing off of somebody else. It'd be nice. I could have put an apple as my logo, but obviously not unique. Easy to remember. So something that people can, you don't want these long names. I am the greatest urology nurse ever to come. It's got to be something easy to remember. I think Euronurse fits that bill, and relatable. You got to have it look like something that you're actually talking about. So it's a subject that kind of makes people trigger, in their brain what you probably mean. I think Euronurses hit all of those. It's unique. I did check that to make sure there was nothing else out there called euronurse.com. I did register it, so nobody can take it. It's easy to remember. People seem to be able to kind of say, "Oh yeah, I was a part of Euronurse," and I made it relatable. I use the Foley catheter design because people in healthcare, almost everybody in healthcare knows what a Foley catheter is. So I utilized that to kind of design the logo. An interesting story. I had worn my Euronurse shirt on the plane to go to Florida to spend some time with my grandkids and my son over there. And we went, they live near Disney. So they wanted to show me some of the hotels that were decorated up for Christmas. And we were walking around in a hotel, and I had a Euronurse shirt on. And some guy comes up to me and says, Euronurse. So he kind of was reading as we do, we read these things. And he said, you must be involved in urology. See, relatable. And he goes on. This guy worked for Boston Scientific. So we got to talking about what Euronurse does, a little bit about his. He thought that the program sounded good, and he could remember euronurse.com. Of course, I gave him a card too to go and check out the show. But again, it's got to be something that you want to trigger an emotion in people. So how did I do it? So, again, may not be an artist, but I am a nerd, and I can utilize equipment. So Procreate is a drawing program that I think it's designed for artists, but even people who aren't artists, it does have a way of helping you out. So it's on my iPad. You use a pencil. I iPad pencil that I utilize with it. So let's just show you how it works. So you can create a color for your background. Of course, I wanted black. And then you can see that little orange dot up there. Bring this up here. I can probably point to that little orange dot for you. That little orange dot, so you can pick whatever color you want. Now, here's my artistry. That's me trying to draw an oval. Trust me, that's the best I can do. That's me drawing a straight line. Terrible, right? Doesn't look anything like my logo. Now, here's the magic. When you don't pick up your pen after you draw those things like this, I left my pen on the paper. Boom. Procreate goes ahead and straightens that out, makes it into a perfect oval, makes it a straight line, makes it a straight line. And there you go. There's my logo. Now, I did mention that I had a great idea. I had to think this through and come up with an idea. Now, not everybody, can come up with an idea. Well, if you remember back on episode 47, I spoke about this program called Midjourney. It's art for people who are like me, can't draw worth a hoot, but I can put up prompts, what they're called prompts into it, and tell it what I want it to do. Now, I've got to make a full disclosure on this too. Um, Midjourney is really taken off. It's an AI program, it's an art program, but it's taken off in leaps and bounds. And I was lucky enough because I've used it so much. Anybody who had over 1,000 images was invited to be part of the alpha program. If you don't know anything about when they're developing programs, they start with alpha, then they go to beta, and then it comes out to the master program. So I'm part of the alpha program, so I got a little early look at what it's doing. It's mind blowing. So here's what I did. I told it to create a logo for a healthcare education company called EuroNurse. Now I could put more specifics in it, but that's sometimes I start really wide and then narrow it down. Now you'll notice the EuroNurse part of it. This part here is in quotes. And the reason I put it in quotes is because if you do that on this new version, it'll use the actual word for you. So let's show you what it did. There's my logo creation by AI. Not bad. I mean, it's got the EuroNurse title in there. It's got a nurse in there. It's got some healthcare stuff in the symbol. I think it's pretty good. Maybe had I told it to use a Foley catheter as a circle or something, it might have done more. It'll usually give you 4 different, you can set it for how many you want, but I always have it give me 4 different options to look at. These are some of the other ones it chose. You can tweak those and make it, more specific. But hey, if you have no idea where you're starting from, that's a good way to get an idea going, is something like Midjourney. Now, you got your brand. You need to have it everywhere you go. Your brand should be everywhere with you. Again, I'm wearing it on my shirt at every show. So a lot of times when I'm out in public, I wear it. If I'm at a meeting, I'm wearing it. You want to have your brand out there, because that's what's going to make people, again, trigger in their mind what this is. You want to just kind of drive home that this is your EuroNurse that you're having. And again, I got these credit cards for a reason. My brand's on them. So I'm going to be giving away. People will have my brand. You want to do that. So brand t-shirts, pens, hats, you name it. Your office, you should have a logo and a brand on your office door. People are going to remember you better with a logo than just the name. So things that make people remember is important. Now, choosing the right social media is also important. There's a lot of choices out there: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, Reddit. How do you choose from that mountain of choices? Well, you want to look at what platforms are going to fit your message, because you want to have a message at the end of the day. That's what people are going to remember. So if your primary goal is professional networking and career advancement, things like LinkedIn are the ideal platform. So this one does go out to LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a caveat in that you have to have at least 250, they call them connections, as like followers, on your group in order to be able to do a live presentation like we're doing here, to go and stream on it. But that's pretty easy to attain. People are pretty willing especially if you're a professional. And a lot of the speakers that we've had on this show are people I've met through LinkedIn. So it's really works 2 ways. Great platform. Now, again, I talked about Facebook is Facebook is more of a community building. I think most of us that are familiar with it, it's more community building. We do go out to Facebook too, but Dr. Lynn's our Facebook guru. I'm not even going to try to start explaining Facebook. I'm just floundering in it myself. But he started this great urology, the Thriving Urology Facebook group, and he'll talk more about that after I get off of this and explain how that works. Now, Twitter or X, which is its latest name, is great for real time. Excuse me, real time updates, news, and engaging in public discussion. You know, again, what do you put yourself on? Twitter, I wasn't sure about. I wasn't going to be on it, and then I decided, oh, let's try it. So I have been broadcasting live every week for probably the last maybe 4 months, I think, and maybe about 20 viewers that would watch the show on demand, maybe one or two that watched it live. Really wasn't anything much until 2 weeks ago when Lori Atkinson spoke about pelvic pain. And I have a little number thing that tells me how many people are watching the show live. And also it'll tell me where they're watching from. And I'm watching this number going from our usual is about 20, viewers that are live. It's going 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'm like, holy cow, something's going on here. Well, I looked and it's Twitter. Lori was blowing up on Twitter. People were watching it live on Twitter. So never just assume that you're not in a good place. Try them out, see if it's going to work. So obviously, Twitter's a place for me to be. Now, YouTube is great. It's the best thing for long form videos like this, where it's a 1 hour talk show. You want to have tutorials. This is the place to be. And that's our number one place to be. That's where most people come to watch the show is YouTube. Um, a great place to work through. There are some tricks to YouTube, but I'm going to talk about those in a little bit. Another one out there that I've started using only because some of my guest speakers have told me that they've had success with it is Instagram. Instagram is a storytelling through videos and pictures. I don't know that this is the place to be for Euronurse, but I'm trying it to see what happens. And the only thing about that Instagram that's kind of different or weird is almost every other place that I put my stuff up live, they keep an on-demand version. So when you do a live show on Instagram, it disappears. It doesn't stay. You can post it later, but it won't stay there. So kind of interesting thing. Now, you decided that you're gonna start a program and you want to do something to promote yourself. You push your brand out there. Do you just start throwing stuff up there and see what sticks? No, you have to have a plan. You have to have a content creation strategy. You don't want to just throw things out there. YouTube, for instance, has approximately 3.7 million new videos uploaded every single day. So if you have a poor quality video out there, it's never going to get seen. You're competing with a lot of people. So, and in our particular field, urology isn't everybody that's going to watch a urology video. So if you want to have yourself stand out, it's got to be high quality. So how do you produce high quality videos? How do you do this? What we do. So you need a strategy. You need to think this through and you need to produce it. I said the word content needs to be produced. So what's the difference between produced content and just putting something out there? Well, I think we're all familiar with Zoom meetings, not to throw Zoom, any trash Zoom ways, but we know what the Zoom meeting experience is like, where you have somebody presenting and a bunch of people that are watching it. Most of them have a camera on live. Some of them have their microphones on live. You got a bunch of noise in the background. It's not a good experience. It's not a production. And it's mostly people talking off the cuff, kind of brainstorming versus something that's produced like this particular show is. What makes a difference? Well, you have a plan and you practice it. I can tell you that this show is always involves a lot of practice. You might not have figured that one out when you saw my fancy introduction trying to go from the intro to the slides. Well, I practiced it, but sometimes practice doesn't always make perfect. And you don't need to have a fancy studio like this, although Dr. Lynn and I both have pretty fancy studios. But if you're going to get this kind of equipment, You need to learn how to use it. Now, if you want to learn more about what you need for a studio, watch episode 46. We talked about public speaking and we talked about utilizing, taking a little tour on our different studios. You'll see my studio, Dr. Lynn's studio, and Andrea Strong was showing a very simple studio, but very effective. You know, you can get by with a decent computer and a good, decent mic. And speaking of microphones, this is the number one message today. If you learn nothing else, if you want to get on and do a video podcast like we're doing, make sure you have a good mic, because low quality sound is a show killer. If people can't understand what you're saying, they're not going to stay tuned in. It just doesn't have the appeal for them. So make sure you have a good mic. Now, do you have to have a microphone like I'm using here? It's nice. I mean, but this particular microphone is probably about $200. It's the Shure VM7. But I can tell you that I've recommended some $20 microphones through Amazon that are USB microphones that really give a good sound. So good sound is the key. Now, just to show you what's involved in this particular show with Euronurse, this is my to-do list. There's probably about 10 or more, at least 10 hours, 10 to 20 hours sometimes, that goes in the behind the scenes work here at Euronurse for me. But after today's show alone, look at what I've got to do. I've got to update websites. I've got to create the next advertisement for the next MailChimp that's going to go on Monday. Videos got to be downloaded. I create the audio podcast. So a lot of things that have to happen after this show. On Sunday, I've got a whole nother. Oh, I know. And after this show, I send out the next the next presenter in 2 weeks. I send them a little reminder. I found it helps. Sometimes people forget that they actually signed up to do this. On Sunday, whoever's speaking next week, I send them a 1 week notice with all the information they need for the show. So they've been reminded a week before. Now they're reminded again. There's some stuff on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn for advertisement that I have to update. And even again, on Friday, I email the speaker here. Glad that you're joining us. Here's the information again, just in case they lost it. I email the experts so they can join the show. I update my slide deck, and I create that advertisement short that you see every week after the show. This is the backside of that. This is a content that I created. So this is kind of what goes out every week. So EuroConnect, that's the advertisement that goes through the SUNA organization. And I've got a little thing that I have to put together for that. And the 1 week notice you see over there with all the information. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into the show. If you're going to do this, make sure you do it right. The other thing, don't be willy-nilly. Don't just post here, post there. You want to have a consistent posting schedule. If you want to be successful and form a fan base, you have to do this consistently. If you're able to do this once a month, then you should do it every third Friday or every third Saturday of the month, and do it consistently. If you're going to do it every day, you better be able to do this every day. And for my case, every week. You know, I started this 96 weeks ago, and I haven't missed a single episode, including when I've been out of town. Consistency is key, and that's what I think has helped Euronurse grow. You need to know your audience, because the way people consume information is different. If you're a baby boomer, you're used to sitting through long lectures, and versus the Gen X's and the Gen Z's and the millennials, who tend to like to consume theirs on their video phones and videos, laptops, iPads, all that modern stuff. So you need to have your strategy for different audiences. If you're going to do the online education, don't overlook shorts and reels. So what are shorts and reels? Well, shorts and reels are terms that are given from different companies. So on YouTube, it's called a short. Shorts are little 1 minute or less vertical, like you see these people over here all looking at their phones. It's that type of format. And Facebook calls them reels. It all started with a company called TikTok, who started that craze with these short-term videos. So what you want to do is you need to have these short things to draw your audience to your longer version. So how do you do that? Well, luckily, StreamYard, which is the company that I use for broadcasting, has this little thing over here where you can generate these videos from AI, their own AI. So it looks at the 1 hour video after I produce it, and it's going to go through there and it's going to pick out different things that it thinks the AI seems to think were interesting. It creates a title and it makes a 1 minute or less video. And it's going to be in this format, like you see here, up and down. It's going to put the words on the top. It's going to have the actual speaker, their voice talking about it, and it's going to produce a title. So it does a lot of the work that's involved. And, 5 or 6 of these will go a long way. I've been amazed. Sometimes the shorts will have thousands of views. So definitely it's one of the things you want to do. Now, this is what the YouTube studio looks like, where you actually post these things. And again, the AI will put this, you can click one button to post it to YouTube. It's going to put the title in there. But this bottom section here, the description, super important. People overlook that. The algorithm reads the descriptions, and a lot of the way when people are searching for terms in there, it looks at that. So you need to have a good, strong description to help drive views. So how do you do that? Well, it's a lot of words, right? You want to write 5 of those every week. I don't. So what I do is I rely on ChatGPT, another tool I spoke about in episode 47. Another AI. I could do another episode on AI. I'm telling you, the way these things have changed are crazy. It's just such a fast pace. It's gotten to be really interesting and really good. I'm going to show you a demo on that in towards the after we're done speaking, when I do my promo, because I use AI to produce those promos. But anyway, I took the paragraph the title that it gave me. Don't forget to do a pelvic exam evaluating pelvic pain. And then I said, give me one paragraph on that. And that's what became my description. So it makes your work easier. I mean, it does still require work. Now, on episode 57, I talked about Pictory, and I mentioned those promo videos that little 1 minute snippet that I show kind of promoting next week's episode comes from Pictory. You go and you write a script, and then the AI will look through the script, break it into scenes, and then it'll try to match what it thinks are really good video scenes to go with it. Now, if you don't like the scene, you can go and swap them out. It has a huge library. When you become a member and you pay for it, you get access to their entire library. It also does this, which I really like. It can read it for you with their own AI voices, which have really gotten good. Then you don't have to do your own voiceovers. It'll put a little background music. The AI actually picks songs that it thinks would be appropriate by moods for what you're talking about. And sometimes it gets it right, but you can always go through their entire library and update them. Again, a little demo of that because we'll be promoting next week's show at the end of this show. And then finally, the most important thing I found out is you need to engage with your audience. You need a way to kind of have a back and forth with them, because if it's all one way, it's not going to necessarily get a fan base going. People want to be able to send in questions and ask. So there's an Ask Euro Nurse button on my website. So people have submitted things they want to know about through that. And then this is another thing that I found out recently was the comments that viewers put in about different things. So people will put in comments, and I have to admit, at first I kind of ignored them, but then I started reading up a little bit about how you can drive your success in social media. And it's going and answering some of these things. So I did. I started to answer the different questions that were coming through. And here's some recent ones. I received a comment. Please, I really want to buy this. Can you help me? I live in Germany and UK where Euro caps are available. Only ships to UK and Ireland, so they couldn't get them in Germany. Well, I happen to know the people that spoke on the Euro cap, and I contacted my salesperson that I had spoke to and let them know about this. Well, they took care of getting a link for this person, so they're able to get their Euro cap in Germany. So Euro Nurse is helping people out. I received this comment from obviously a patient. I live in Arizona and cannot find a single urologist who performs Optilume procedure. They obviously watched that video. Does anyone in this forum know of an Arizona urologist who does this? Input would be most appreciated. So again, I went to the website, and they have a little thing where you can click on their website. It'll find providers in your area. I sent him that link and let him go ahead and do it. So he did send me back another follow up and that he was able to find a urologist, really great person, and they took care of him. So again, what we're doing makes a difference for people. It's a big deal, but you need to get yourself out there so people can find you. So that's the most important part. Now that's about all I need to talk about. So I'm going to switch this over to Dr. Lynn's presentation here, and let me just bring him in here. Hey, John, welcome. You're up now.
All right, let's go. All right, I am going to talk about the how and the why of a Facebook group that I run to help fellow urology practices. Now, this will hopefully inspire you to look into Facebook groups to share your passions. I will also discuss how this project of mine has led to some positive outcomes. Just to give you some context and background, I'm a full-time urologist and also happen to dabble in multiple business ventures. I'm also a husband, I'm a dad. I run a few small YouTube channels, but we're going to concentrate on Facebook today. Now, you might be wondering, why did I start this Facebook group almost 6 years ago? It was actually out of frustration over having no groups in the US taking charge in this space to promote the continued prosperity of small private urology practices in a free forum. Everything seems to be behind a paywall. You have to pay to get that information. I detest that. I didn't like that. So this is my way to pay it forward. I've been very, very blessed in that I became a urologist. Somehow I got lucky, got into the field, and it's changed my life. It's going to change my family's life. And my goal is to change fellow urology practices so they can touch not their patients only, but also their families. I had some personal motives in creating this group. Number one, I wanted a chance to practice public speaking. I wanted to get better at public speaking, doing what we're doing right now. I also wanted to create video content and live content, especially what we're doing right now is really difficult. One shot, no retake. So I wanted to practice public speaking, creating live content. And I wanted, I'm a little bit of a geek as well. I wanted to marry technology with the above interests to help fellow urology practice members. So that is the why. Now, what is a Facebook group? These groups are a place to connect, learn, and share information with people who have similar interests. Pretty much anyone can create these Facebook groups. And there are interest groups for kidney stones, intermittent self-catheterization, even this Canon camera, all right? And there are interest groups talking about this particular audio mixer that I'm using to put out this content to you. There are Facebook groups for fishing, knitting, pretty much anything you can think of. Why did I pick Facebook? You may be wondering. Well, I want to disclose that I do own Facebook stock, and it has done really well for me. So just full disclosure. But the main reason I chose Facebook is number one, I am empathetic always to the user, the end user, the audience, the Facebook members. I want it to be easy to use. I want it to be highly interactive. Think of the Staples stationery stores. Think of that easy button. Anytime I want somebody to take an action that I want them to take, I'm thinking of the easy button. How do I make it as easy as possible for them to take the action that I want them to take? Well, Facebook group fits the bill because it's pretty much it's an app on most people's phones. And for some people who are not on Facebook, they have told me that the only reason that they are on Facebook is because of that Facebook group. So it creates a lot of value for the person using Facebook and also in that Facebook group. Ease of use. In addition, I created a private Facebook group. You can set up Facebook groups to be public, to be private, semi-private, but this is a private Facebook group, meaning you have to apply or invite it. And then we qualify you. I don't let everybody in. I only let people in who work in a US-based urology practice setting. There are no vendors, so that means members who participate in this group can freely share information, good or bad. Now, granted, anything you post online, there's really no privacy. Heck, anything that you do on your phone, there's really no privacy. So take private with a grain of salt. I wanted this group, this forum, this format, so that it's easy for you to post whatever you want, whether that is a photo, a meme, a video. You can go live like what we're doing right now, or simply share a text post. I wanted to make it as easy as possible. The most important thing for me is member engagement. How engaged are the members in this group? It's not so much for me the number of clicks or the number of members or some random vanity metric, but I value the degree and the quality of engagement by the folks who are in this group. And I will tell you, Facebook does give me some rudimentary metrics regarding the amount of engagement. With a small group of nearly 3,000 members in this Facebook group, the engagement is outrageously high. So I really, really love that about this group. As far as what type of content to create for the group, there are generally three categories. One is educational, two is inspirational, and number three is entertaining. Pretty much anytime you create content, you want to think of these three formats. In terms of educational content, interviews, live videos with Q&A. For instance, I had a director of billing come on the Facebook group and we did a Facebook live interview that was really, really highly interactive and engaging. And during the live stream, of course, people had a lot of questions that also fosters engagement and interactivity. I've held book clubs, a lot of posts and memes to make it an educational type of a forum. Sometimes these videos that I create on Facebook are good for public consumption, meaning I can cross-post it on YouTube, which makes it interesting for the larger audience internationally. As Vic has already mentioned in one of the slides, the audience is international on YouTube. So the reach can be incredible depending on what you want to do. For me, I just want to serve the US-based urology practice folks. Some inspirational posts. You can post something about personal wins in your practice regarding fighting against an insurance company or something that you did that they're very proud of. For instance, doing a lot of surgeries in an efficient manner in a surgery center. Some of the losses, some of the stories regarding yourself or your patient that you can share on this Facebook group. Also entertaining. A lot of members are super funny. They will post funny or punny urology memes. You get the gist. And lastly, providing value, basically sharing resources about coding, billing, practice management, revenue cycle, tips on surgeries, how to make that better, easier, faster, some office workflow and protocols, and some operating room efficiencies. Some of this information, we typically work in silos. We work in our small practices and we don't really know what else is going on out there. This Facebook group is a way for you to peek out of your practice so that you can see what other people are doing so that you can run things more efficiently. Like Vic mentioned, responding to posts and giving feedback to people is imperative to engagement and to providing value to the audience, to the members of the group. Sometimes I'll see a post and based on my connections and knowledge, I can tag some subject matter experts who may be familiar with the topic or the question that is posed. For instance, when it comes to locum tenens, PSA, or public service announcements, or professional services agreements, depending on how you interpret PSA, solo practices and practice administrators who may have deep subject matter knowledge, I can tag those folks and they will come on and respond to that comment. I personally read every single post and response in the Facebook group. Right now, the group is still small enough that I can do so, but I try to educate myself. Not only do I provide the information and tag people, I learn a lot because this is my way to peek out into the universe to see how other practices are doing things in their individual silos like I am. I produce a lot of videos and and they use technology. And this is yet, combination of technology and public speaking. This is another chance at bat to practice, to get better at what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do. These also, the videos also allow me the ability to look back at myself, to self-critique and how to improve what I've done. Of course, I can't do this all by myself. I have some amazing moderators who help keep things in check, to reject those people who don't need to be in the group. And some of the benefits, I'll conclude with this. Some of the benefits of doing this Facebook group is that I have had the ability to professionally network a lot. Invitation to speak has been off the charts. I get to travel across the country this year to speak at various different society meetings. Companies have also sent me a lot of products, tens of thousands of products for me to review. Now they'll send it to me and they'll ask me to use it. There's no request to review it, but they know based on what I've been doing that I most likely will review their product. Now I may not review every product, because sometimes if the product is not up to par, I may say you may want to take this back to the drawing board. But being able to review a lot of products so I can share that information with fellow urologists has been really beneficial. This group also creates goodwill among urologists across the country. Not only do I get to interact with them, they get to interact among themselves. Not just urologists, but also practice office managers. We have medical assistants, urology APPs. They all are in the same group. We all face the same issues. So it creates a lot of goodwill and interactivity and community in these groups. Once you start creating content in a very hyper specialized area or community, when you are out in real life, for instance, at the most recent American Urologic Association meeting, you are recognized. I could not believe how many people came up to me as I was walking the exhibit halls and said, "Hey, you are the guy on YouTube. You're the guy on Facebook in that Facebook group." And the gratitude that I receive from people is just amazing. So the recognition that you get, there are different love languages. I think my love language is verbal appreciation, just that verbal recognition and appreciation. This Facebook group also allows me to be a mentor to so many urologists. Physicians, I think, are teachers, and I think nurses are teachers. This is another way for me to teach and share knowledge based on my experience of running a practice. And I already mentioned that this also helps me improve my practice by seeing what other people are doing. Helps me break out of that status quo bias, meaning I hear practices say this: we do it this way because this is the way we've always done things. I can't stand that. So that's called status quo bias. I'm always fighting against that. And this Facebook group allows me to see how other people are doing the same thing that I'm doing. Maybe I want to improve on that, or maybe possibly I can share some wisdom based on what I've done. And lastly, this is truly my way to pay it forward, to leave a legacy and be a role model of what is possible. This is the ultimate goal. I have been blessed to be living beyond the American dream. And I hope this is a way that I can share the passion with other urology practices. And when you start doing something, you make other people recognize, oh, if he can do it, why can't I? Thinking beyond just yourself, your family, and your small community, think legacy. Back to you, Vic.
It was really great. I appreciate all you had to say, John. That was I think that we're kind of drawn to this profession because we want to give to people, and then we kind of find out that social media is a way of reaching even more people than you ever imagined. I too, like yourself, find it kind of uncomfortable to realize that suddenly you're recognized. I mean, we all think of ourselves as kind of somewhat in the background. You just don't expect people to say you're that person, but you're right. As you get involved, again, your brand, people know who you are because of being on social media. Feel free, anybody in the audience, if you have questions for John or I, put them in the comments. We'll be glad to take those. The one thing I wanted to ask you about, John, now I know at Facebook you have an option of creating a Facebook page versus the Facebook group. Why did you choose group?
Group allows, so a page is pretty much anybody can see. So you can create a page with your brand that you can post contents for the whole world to see. Facebook group allows to be the control who is able to see the content, relatively speaking. Again, anything you post on social media is not really private because anybody can screenshot it. The videos, content that I create in the Facebook group, somebody can record that and post it elsewhere. So always, with a grain of salt, when somebody says it's a private Facebook group, nothing you post is private. But this allows me to filter out and really engage with a small, dedicated group of like-minded people working in the same field. I don't want patients to come into the group because that detracts from my mission, which is to help urology practices, not to help other patients in this Facebook group.
That's a good point. I started off with a page for some of the things that I've been involved in. Then I started the Europatient podcast. And I did that as the group, and I find the group is just a little more successful for being able to control things. So just putting that out there for those of you that are looking to start something on Facebook, look at either way. Now,
and also now Facebook I have not found another platform that gives me so much flexibility and is so easy to use. I can pretty much do anything, post memes, photos, videos, go live. And it's so easy. And again, it's to make it easy for the audience, to be empathetic to the members.
So now here's a question. Now, I think you're probably involved as much as I am. A lot of this is great exchanges. We get people asking questions. You want to answer those. But there are some haters out there, right? Have you received anybody that's sent something negative, and how do you handle that?
Well, heck, even within Facebook group, I get some of that on YouTube. And also some people who disagree on Facebook, but it's okay. You have to keep in mind, what is your mission? If your purpose and your mission is good and you stay true to that, I really couldn't care. When people say throw shade at what I do, I kind of feel badly for them. I wonder what's going on in their lives that they have to do that, because of what I'm doing as I'm trying to provide value for everyone across the country. I'm not selling anything. I'm trying to do good. And if they can't appreciate that, I wonder what else is going on in their lives.
Yeah.
So
good point.
Trying to be empathetic to them.
I got a few comments coming in here. Tabo writes, hi, Dr. Lynn. I'm in Marin County, north of San Francisco. I'm also one of your newer members on the Facebook group.
Yay!
And Grace Martinson, how do I find your Facebook group and what's the name?
It's called the Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group. The Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group.
Yeah. I'm also a member of that. Again, these are great things to get involved in because I think it's a way of us exchanging ideas, and that's what you're always looking for.
Yeah, it looks like this.
So I found that one of the things that I don't know if the people who write these things realize it, but we look like we're talking heads on this show, but we really are people. And sometimes, like you say, they throw shade, and we're still human, and you get some of these criticisms. You're like, you have to kind of have a little bit of a way of kind of saying, yeah, there must be something wrong with you. It's not me, because I've got so many other ones that are saying this is a great thing.
Yeah.
The haters are out there.
So it's interesting. It's a thankless job, as you know, Vic. Most people get a lot of value out of the content that we create, but rarely will you say thank you or you hear that thank you. And anytime I get that in my DM or somebody posts that, it's really my oxygen. The words of appreciation, that is my oxygen. That is my jam. Yes, you can pay me money to talk. That's great too. But I think that's my love language, the words of appreciation. You get not so much of that, but you will get criticism pretty easily. Humans are typically, I have to watch that myself. We are negatively biased, meaning we look at the bad of something before we look at the good of something. That's a survival mechanism. So I always have to catch myself whenever I see something. Oh, you could do better with that. No, that's my human nature talking. I need to look at the good of something instead of looking at the bad of something.
Yeah. I kind of think about I'm a big basketball fan, and lately got hooked on the WNBA with Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Watched the college games and watched her career. She's really amazing. And of course, I'm from Chicago, so I can remember the Michael Jordan years. And I remember when he first started, and there wasn't much of a team behind him, but you could just see a spark of greatness in him as a character. But I look at some of the Facebook comments and Twitter comments about Caitlin Clark and how terrible she is, and this and that, and all the hate that they're throwing at somebody who is, for the first time, filled every seat in a stadium for the WNBA. Yet you get that hate stuff going on. So like you said, it's got to be ingrained in people, but it makes no sense.
Yeah, that's okay. You just keep going. Yeah, and hopefully you have a community like the two of us who can bounce ideas and share experiences. Anytime you put yourself out there, you're going to find haters. They may not like your glasses. They may not like your heritage. They may not like your hair, the way you speak. It doesn't matter. People are going to find something to pick on you. That's okay.
Well, here we got some thank yous. Grace says thank you. Katie Bortel, great information and good job. And thank you both. All right. So yeah, we love what we're doing. So there's no question about the drive for doing this. And I thought this was kind of an interesting to share with people is the how, because more people get involved in it, the better. We don't want to say that we've got some exclusive powers that were sent down from above that allows us to do this and nobody else can do it. It just takes work. And I think John and I both will tell you that if you're going to do this, be committed, because it's a big commitment. It's not something you just do, as I like to say, willy-nilly.
And it's interesting. Once other people see that you do it, somebody else is doing it. That means it's possible. I can do it too. Yep. And as you produce more and more content, people will see, oh, he's doing that. Maybe he has some information. So I have actually helped a lot of currently very famous and big urology social media people in the backgrounds with for instance, their microphones, their audio setups, and things like that. Yep. So it's fun. It's great.
All right. And just as a plug, just so people know it, coming after this show at 10:30 is our uropatient.com. I'm going to be talking about erectile dysfunction and all the different treatments. I think today's going to be on the injections, if I remember right. I do so many programs, sometimes you get lost. And as I promised, for next week's show, this is what I created using that Pictory, and I used the ChatGPT. So I'm going to just kind of share that with you. One of the things I want to mention is I said these AI is getting to be very advanced. And so I asked ChatGPT to come up with a script for me to produce this Pictory video from, and told it who the speaker was and what the topic was. Now, ChatGPT was able to go in there because I looked at the speaker's website and kind of found some of the information. So ChatGPT looked at the websites and all the information about this person and kind of encapsulated it. And that's what I got as this video. So watch this. I think it's kind of interesting.
Dr. Landon Trost, a renowned expert in male fertility and microsurgery, will discuss the transformative potential of vasectomy reversal for men seeking to reclaim their fertility. According to Dr. Trost, vasectomy reversal involves meticulously reconnecting the vas deferens, either through vasodistostomy or vasoepididymostomy, depending on the presence of blockages in the time since the original vasectomy. He highlights that advancements in microsurgical techniques have substantially increased success rates, with patency rates as high as 97% and pregnancy rates between 40 to 75%. Dr. Trosts will discuss the importance of precision and experience in performing these procedures, as they are critical factors in achieving optimal outcomes. Join us next Saturday on euronurse.com to learn more.
Yeah, there you have it. So join us next week. That's gonna be interesting. We haven't done anything on vast reversal, and looking forward to that episode. But what I find most interesting is that is all produced by, well, mostly produced by Chat GPT and this Pictory, all AI, that came up with this titles and most of those videos. I had some tweaking that I did, but it's pretty crazy what it can do, folks. So we'll look forward to trying to do some more episodes on, I think, some of this AI and try to keep people informed about it too. Otherwise, John, have a great rest of your day. Rest of you have a great day, and we'll see everybody next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.